Stay tuned for the latest news regarding the new flavor additions that Zaxby's has revealed here at RMU.
As well as the latest on a former presidential couple's testimony to Congress and their ties to Epstein.
And some of the most prominent takeaways from President Trump's State of the Union address this week. So stay tuned on RMU Live.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
Former Secretary of State and 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton also testified against her involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's ventures during the closed-door congressional testimony.
Clinton says that Republican members of Congress asked her a wide array of questions regarding her knowledge of UFOs, the Pizzagate conspiracy, and her personal relationship with Epstein.
Good afternoon. It is the 27th of February. I'm Owen McLaren.
And I'm Caden Hyde. Right now, former President Bill Clinton is facing a probe by the House Oversight Committee into his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, making him the first president to be questioned by Congress in over 40 years. Clinton told the House Oversight Committee that he, quote, saw nothing and did nothing wrong, end quote. Transcripts of the depositions are expected to be made public soon. President Donald Trump shared his thoughts today.
I don't like seeing him deposed, but, you know, they certainly went after me a lot more than that. I don't like seeing him. Look, I like him, and I don't like seeing him deposed.
It is expected that President Clinton's testimony will last longer than Hillary's, which went 6 hours.
Representatives from both the U.S. and the Islamic Republic of Iran are continuing nuclear deal discussions in Geneva this week. Oman's foreign minister and mediator of the deal, Badr al-Basaidi, told reporters that the talks were making, quote, significant progress, end quote, without any elaboration. These talks come after the U.S.'s bombing of several uranium enrichment sites in Iran in June 2025, as well as President Donald Trump sending military vessels into the waters surrounding the Middle Eastern country.
President Trump's first option is always diplomacy, but as he has shown, he is willing to use the lethal force of the United States military if necessary.
Iran maintains that they have the right to enrich uranium, while the United States believes that Iran's nuclear program poses a threat to the world at large, and neither side appears to want to budge. Talks will continue next week in Vienna, Austria. The Justice Department is currently looking into possible mishandlings of several Epstein files. Several reports have mentioned withheld documents relating to accusations made by a woman against President Donald Trump. Top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Representative Robert Garcia, shared his thoughts on the issue.
We understand, and it's been confirmed, that those documents that have been removed likely pertain to some allegations that the survivor made about President Trump. And so what's important now is that the DOJ explain to us why were those documents removed.
The Department of Justice said on X, quote, as with all documents that have been flagged by the public, the department is currently reviewing files that within that category of the production, end quote.
Anxiety is high on Grand Street as the Office of Management and Budget revealed that the Steel City operated on a budget deficit of $6.6 million in 2025. City Councilwoman Erica Stratzberger says that the financial situation is, quote, worse than we even expected, end quote. As then Mayor Ed Gainey's administration estimated a $1.2 million surplus, city officials say that the city had to spend nearly $50 million of its reserve fund, while also going $2.1 million over budget in premier pay costs in the response. The city has approved a 20% property tax increase for 2026 to help offset the deficit. The city is also looking towards levying tax on capital gains and estates in order to get Pittsburgh back into the green. Pennsylvania drivers are advised to look out for incorrect invoices coming from PennDOT due to an error with their license plate scanning cameras. Said cameras, which operate to charge those using several turnpikes across the state, have recently had issues with distinguishing the numbers 0 and 8 due to a slash in the 0 to differentiate it from the letter O. The slashed 0 became common practice in 2020, and PennDOT says the cameras are still adjusting to the change. Spokespeople for the Pennsylvania Turnpike said the incorrect scans are not widespread, and they are working on resolving the issue. The organization also recommends getting an Easy Pass, which operates on a signal to check license plate as opposed to a camera system to avoid future issues.
A Pennsylvania man has been arrested and charged for allegedly grooming a 13-year-old girl online and traveling to visit her with the intent of engaging in sexual contact with her. 18-year-old Matthew Edward Syher was arrested in California last Friday following a rescue mission. Authorities say Syher first met the girl on a Discord server dedicated for individuals suffering from mental illness. He then pressured her into sending explicit images of herself and images of self-harm. Syher then traveled to Los Angeles and allegedly met her right near her house and took her to a local motel. Her mother tipped off local officials, and following his arrest, investigators found a knife, razor blades, bloody tissues, and condoms. Syher is charged with traveling with the intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct, which, if convicted, can be punishable by up to 30 years in prison.
A beloved Millville bakery is shutting its doors soon. Jean-Marc Chatilleret's French bakery on North Avenue is closing after 30 years of business. On Facebook, the business said, quote, "Jean-Marc and I are overwhelmed by the love and support you guys give us each week. We will miss you very much, and we hope we can stay in touch some way," end quote. The bakery will be open tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., serving breakfast pastries, apple strudels, and shortbread.
Unfortunate news to hear, but those warm pastries are reminding me of how warm it is out here on campus today, Owen.
That's right, Caden. Today is a beautiful day, but will it continue? Let's send it over to Penelope Shriver with today's weather.
Thanks, guys. After months of cold, we're going to look into that sunny weather. So starting off with today's forecast, we have a high of 54, low of 39 with a 2% chance of precipitation and 53% humidity. Moving on to our hourly forecast, starting off later at 4 p.m., we have it's partially cloudy, 52 degrees, and at 7 p.m. it's going to be cloudy, 46 degrees, and moving on later tonight at 9 p.m. it's going to be cloudy and 43 degrees. Moving on to tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be warmer here as we have a high of 57, low of 30, and 47% humidity and 11% chance of precipitation. That's all I have for your forecast right now. Come back for the 5-day. Back to you.
Thank you, Penelope. Let's hope that we'll be seeing more of this good weather in the coming days.
Still ahead, Trump's union address and the key moments from bold remarks to even bolder promises.
Also, how the death of a high-profile Mexican cartel member has led to an eruption of violence across the country.
And how you can start prepping early as this year's allergy season quickly approaches. After this.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
A lot has changed since President Donald Trump addressed Congress a year ago. But in one area, at least, his State of the Union address Tuesday evening resembles his last visit to the House chamber. It was very long. Clocking in at 1 hour and 47 minutes, the president made several new policy announcements and touted accomplishments while praising invited guests and lambasting Democrats.
In response, Virginia's governor delivered a firm rebuttal and made the argument for Democrats as her party seeks to gain control of Capitol Hill in this year's midterm elections. Ivan Rodriguez is in Washington with the latest.
In the longest State of the Union address since at least 1964,
the state of our union is strong.
An energetic and defiant President Donald Trump declared what he calls a new age of American prosperity.
We have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before.
In the wide-ranging speech, Trump boasted his administration's economic achievements and cost savings initiatives, like reducing inflation, lowering some prescription drug prices, and cutting taxes.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Trump also defended key pillars of his agenda that have been subject to controversy, including his global tariff initiative struck down by the Supreme Court last week and his administration's immigration crackdown.
We now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far.
The president also addressed issues like healthcare, voter ID, and Iran.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
But along with policy objectives and first-year wins, Trump took aim at perceived political enemies and Democrats.
Democrats are destroying our country.
In the Democratic response, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger struck a different tone.
Is the president working for you?
Laying out her party's argument against the administration and for Democratic policies.
No, you can demand more. And that we are working to lower costs. We are working to keep our communities and our country safe, and we are working for you.
In Washington, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Thanks, Ivan. With the State of the Union still fresh in the minds of many, more representatives are likely to respond in the future.
President Donald Trump's new tariffs went into effect on Tuesday at 10% instead of the original 15%. The Supreme Court struck down a majority of Trump's tariffs, so he quickly implemented a 10% flat tariff for all trading partners. The administration is now looking at Section 122 of the trade law, which can allow quick applications of 15% tariffs, but only for up to 150 days. Importers received a memo informing them of the new tariffs and that the rate would start out at 10%, but it could increase to 15%. Bernd Lang, a German European Union lawmaker, said, quote, "Pure tariff chaos from the U.S. administration. No one can make sense of it anymore, only open questions and growing uncertainty," end quote.
There was trouble in the Caribbean this week as a small speedboat infiltrated Cuban waters, ending in a shootout, leaving 4 of the boat's passengers dead. Cuban authorities claim that the boat was carrying Cuban exiles returning to the island with the intention of causing acts of terrorism. Before the passengers opened fire on Cuban military personnel, here with more on the U.S. perspective is Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Suffice it to say, it is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that. It's not something that happens every day. It's something, frankly, that hasn't happened with Cuba in a very long time. But we're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us. And I'm very, very confident that we will know the full story of what happened here, and we will know it soon. And then, we'll respond appropriately based on what that information tells us.
It still remains unclear as to whom the passengers on the boat were and why they attempted to make it to the Cuban mainland. We will be following this developing story. Singer David is the primary target in an investigation regarding the killing of a 14-year-old who was found dead last year in a Tesla registered under David's legal name, David Burke. The girl, Celeste Rivias Hernandez, went missing in 2024 from her hometown of Lake Elsinore, just outside of Los Angeles. Her body was found on September 8th. Police investigators found a bag, quote, covered with insects and a strong odor of decay, end quote. They then found the decomposed body of Hernandez with her legs and her arms being severed from her body. Representatives for the singer and the district attorney's office have yet to comment on the case.
The official start of spring is still more than 3 weeks away, but for the U.S., 1 in 4 adults and nearly 1 in 5 children who suffer from seasonal allergies, now is the time to prepare before the onslaught of symptoms.
In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to an allergist about what steps to take before the spring allergy season starts.
It's almost that time of year again. The flowers, the sun, the pollen ready to pounce.
And you definitely don't want to wait for the onset of symptoms.
Dr. Rohit Katyal with National Jewish Health says if you suffer from seasonal allergies, now is the time to get ready before spring has sprung and symptoms are triggered so the reaction isn't as extreme.
And in most places in the United States, the trees go first. So those who are tree allergic, they're going to feel the most symptoms here early in the season.
To prevent severe allergy symptoms, Katyal says to go ahead and start using steroid nasal sprays, which can help reduce inflammation, swelling, and mucus in the nose. He says most should be sprayed once a day before and throughout the season.
That's a great one to start, but that can't be used as needed. Once somebody begins those nasal steroid sprays, they should be used daily.
Katyal says to take daily oral antihistamine medication as needed. If your allergies tend to start earlier, he says it's okay to take the pills in advance. But if your spring symptoms are late bloomers, like if you have grass allergies, consider starting the pills closer to grass season around late April.
If you tend to have really severe eye symptoms where you really have a lot of daily itch, then the eye drops are also a nice addition to the regimen.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Once allergy season is officially underway, Dr. Katyal says to avoid going outdoors and to also shut all windows in the house and in your car.
And coming up next, how the men's RMU basketball team is turning heads as their streak of not only confidence, but wins keeps building.
Also, the women's basketball team is gearing up as they head to the close of their regular season this weekend.
And the Penguins are back, coming off the Olympic break with a strong start, so stay tuned.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how the dog was looking at me?
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Campus and city sports teams have been pushing through and continuing to show good results this week. So let's send it over to Joey Dramazic with the latest.
Thanks, guys. I'm Joey Dramazic, back once again for your weekly sports report. There's a lot to go over at the collegiate level and professional level, so let's get right into it. Starting out with the red-hot Colonial men's basketball team, who are coming off of a must-win game against Detroit Mercy and held off the Titans with the 73-62 win. The win on Wednesday extended the Colonials' win streak to 6 games and helped clinch a home game in the Horizon League tournament next Wednesday. They wrap up the regular season tomorrow at 1 p.m. at home versus Cleveland State, and with the win, they can clinch the 2 seed in the HL tournament. Staying on the hard one with the women's team, who are rubbing off their wounds from from last Saturday's defeat to Oakland 71-61. Even with an underwhelming 3 and 4 month of February, the Colonials return back to Moon Township in their last regular season game versus Wright State tomorrow afternoon. A win for the Colonials would help their chances at hosting a tournament game, as they currently sit one game back of the fifth seed in the standings. Tip-off is set for tomorrow at 4 p.m. Over to the ice with the men's hockey team, who split their weekend series with Canisius with a win on Friday night and a shutout loss on Saturday. The Colonials will end their regular season this weekend in a home and away series versus Mercyhurst. This is a crucial series for the team that needs to stay in the top 4 for a home playoff series and currently sit tied for 4th with Holy Cross and a point up from 5th place. Puck drops tonight at 7 p.m. and tomorrow at 5 p.m. Let's head outside and over to the women's lacrosse team, who are currently on a 2-game skid after their crosstown rivalry win over Duquesne last Wednesday. This week, the Colonials fell to Cincinnati 9-3 and 11-4 for St. Bonaventure on Wednesday in New York. Before returning home next Saturday, they have a date with the Ohio State Buckeyes on Sunday. The game is set to start at noon in Columbus, Ohio. Now over to the men's lacrosse team, who had an exciting Monday afternoon, to say the least, as they came out on top versus High Point in an 8-7 double overtime win. Ben Eck was the Colonials to help secure the win for the Colonials, which got their record back to 500 and currently sit at 3-3 on the season. Their next game is tomorrow at 1 p.m. versus Hobart in Geneva, New York. Wrapping up with the RMU Colonials with the women's track and field team, the Colonials will take part in the Indoor Horizon League Championships this weekend in Youngstown, Ohio. The meet begins tomorrow and wraps up on Sunday. Let's head down to Pittsburgh, and after an extensive break for the Penguins due to the Winter Olympics, the Penguins returned to the ice last night as they took on the New Jersey Devils. Despite being without their leader, Sidney Crosby, who suffered an injury in the semifinals in the Olympics, they came out on top with a 4-1 win. They're back on the ice tomorrow afternoon in a matchup versus the New York Rangers. Puck drop is at 12:30. Before we wrap up, the NFL came out with their yearly team report cards this week, and safe to say the review for the hometown Steelers was underwhelming. In 17 categories, they received 4 Fs, 1 D, 3 Cs, 7 Bs, and 2 As. The interesting about their A's is that they won't be here next season. I'm talking about the former special teams coordinator Danny Smith and the legendary head coach Mike Tomlin. Not the review the Steelers needed from yet another disappointing season, and yet they are heading into another offseason with many, many questions. Well, that's all the time I have for you this week. Come back next week for your weekly sports report, and until next time, I'm George Masick. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you as always, Joey. And it's always good to see the Penguins come back strong, but the Steelers are going to need some study hours to get those grades back up. As for RMU, student tickets can always be found on the RMU Game Day app.
On the topic of RMU things, here on RMU-TV, we do more than bring you the latest news on Friday. At 4 p.m.,
during the spring semester, we have RMU Focus on Mondays at 3 p.m., Sports Talk in the Berg at 5:15 p.m. on Wednesdays, and Colonial Sports Center at 9:30 p.m. every Thursday night.
Make sure to turn in right here on RMU-TV. After this, we'll be heading back over to weather to see how our 5-day forecast is looking for this upcoming week.
As well as a sneak peek over at Saxby's to see how they're bringing the warm summer feeling to the cold winter months. So don't go anywhere.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We had this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live.
Now that we know that we'll be riding out the rest of the day with warm weather, the question is, will the first week of March be the same? Let's send it back over to Penelope for some more.
Thanks, guys. I'm back with your 5-day forecast. Starting off with Sunday, it's going to be partially cloudy, high of 36, low of 22. Then moving on to Monday, it's going to stay the same with partially cloudy, high of 36, but the lows are going to bump up a little bit to 30. And on Tuesday, we're going to start seeing those spring showers coming in with a high of 45, low of 38. And Wednesday, those showers are going to continue with a high of 51, low of 46. And closing out our week on Thursday with a high of 63 and low of 53. That's all I have for your weather this week, guys. Back to you.
Well, thanks for the report, Penelope. It's definitely not a surprise to see the inconsistent Pittsburgh weather.
Yeah, like you said, Owen, the weather might be cold one day and warm the next. But one place on campus is already breaking out the sunscreen and hammocks. At Saxby's, with more on the new drink event, is Isabella Harris.
Thanks, guys. Well, while winter is still lingering outside at RMU, here inside Saxby's, it's all about sunshine, the beach, and the spring vibes. On Monday, inside Saxby's Cafe at the Wheatley Center, the campus cafe hosted its Sipping on Matcha Paradise launch party. The event turned the cafe into a tropical getaway with themed decor, fun cup painting, and exclusive drink tastings. Students who attended the event got the opportunity to test and enjoy 2 of the new matcha flavors being released, which include raspberry butterfly and pina colada. Attendees were also able to enjoy 1 free drink from their Saxby's matcha collection, which also includes strawberry, vanilla bean, and now raspberry butterfly and pina colada. Something else also added to the menu but not advertised with the new collection was their Irish potato flavor, which features coconut, cinnamon, and comes in either a latte or matcha form. Attendees were also able to paint and take home their very own free reusable beach cups. Some even received surprises and goodies. When asked what they hope to achieve with the event, Student Vice President of the Campus Marketing of Saxby's at RMU, Kaylin Hartman, had this to say.
So with our event today, we hope to expose Saxby's more across other student bodies and different people across campus so that we can just give more visibility to what our cafe has to offer, and then also different flavors and different student activities we can do here and just drive awareness across campus.
Saxby's is open Monday through Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and are closed on the weekends. Reporting for RMU Live, I'm Isabella Harris.
Looks like there is a lot of new stuff to check out there. Saxby's hours vary by day, like Isabella said, so make sure to go check out their website to see the official hours of operation.
Netflix has now withdrawn from the bidding war between Paramount on who will potentially buy Warner Bros. Discovery. Big channels that are up for grabs in the bid include CNN, TNT, Cartoon Network, and Animal Planet. Netflix said that its interest in acquiring Warner Bros. Was, quote, no longer financially attractive, end quote.
This comes after Paramount increased its bid to $31 per share compared to Netflix's bid of $27.75. Warner Bros. Has not yet accepted Paramount's bid, but it likely will after Netflix has pulled out.
The 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees have been officially announced. The Rock Hall announced 17 nominees, with 10 being first time. Some of the nominees include Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Lauryn Hill, Mariah Carey, Oasis, Pink, Shakira, and the Black Crowes.
A panel of more than 1,200 artists, historians, and music industry professionals will decide who eventually makes it into the Hall of Fame starting in April. The official ceremony will be in the fall with no finalized date approved yet. The more things change, the more they stay the same, and no matter where we are in human history, baby names are all the rage. Allegheny Health Network released their list of the most popular baby names of 2025, and the girls' list is once again topped by Olivia. This is the 4th consecutive year that the name is the most popular in the region, and this year it was the most popular nationally as well.
On the boys' side, a newcomer stole the crown, Henry. This name dethrones last year's winner, Oliver, who didn't even crack the top 10. Nationally, Noah is the #1 boy's name, and Henry isn't even in the top 5. AHN reported their top 5 of each sex as follows. In descending order from 5th to 1st for the boys, it's William, Theodore, Owen, Bennett, and Henry. And for the girls, it's Violet, Sophia, Charlotte, Amelia, and Olivia.
Well, that's it we have for RMU today. I'm Owen signing off.
I'm Caden also signing off, and we'll see you guys next week.